Hi everyone, again welcome to my channel. This is part 2 of my series about bullying and my experiences that I had growing up, and how it sort of shaped a lot of my sort of mentality today and how I'm sort of moving through it. So unfortunately I've had some issues sort of uploading these videos into YouTube and getting the format and stuff. So I'm just sort of going to break it down into a few different parts. So, you know, it's only be sort of 5 to 10 minutes each rather than sort of a big 40-minute block, which I did have recorded but wouldn't upload. But this time I'm going to sort of talk about a few of the experiences that I went through that sort of shaped my confidence in being able to do things as an adult based on the experiences that I had as a kid. So I explained in my last video that I was very sporty, and a lot of what I found during my primary school years was that even though I was experiencing bullies within sort of friendship groups, the thing that got me through was having sort of sporting outlets and being good at that. But I wasn't isolated just to the bullying in primary school. I got it even within my sporting groups. You know, whether, you know, I went to, I think I was sort of explaining in the first video that I did that I couldn't sort of upload, that, you know, I initially started playing basketball at the age of about 7 or 8. And I went and played club basketball and sort of made my way up through the ranks there. But even there, you know, girls would sort of huddle around and, you know, would, you know, might not necessarily, you know, want to pair up with you, you know, when you're doing the drills or, you know, or outside of, you know, actually playing, you know, they'd sort of hang around after the game and wouldn't sort of include me. And, you know, it was anything from, I've got a younger sister who's 10 years younger than me. So when I started playing basketball during these years, she was really quite small. Anything from, oh, your sister's so annoying, why can't you just go away, to anything else. And I was really protective of my sister. I love her a bit. She's my best friend. And that was just mean. Do you know what I mean? And mean for no apparent reason other than just being mean. You know, it's sort of almost one-upmanship, and there's no rhyme or reason for it. It's just almost like, well, to make myself feel big, I'm going to make someone feel small. And I think that's a lot of the mentality of these, you know, as you find girl groups, you know, sort of being mean to people and going around, a lot of the mentality might be just sort of one person whose own insecurities mean that they feel as if they have to be bigger than someone else. And by doing that, they then put someone down. And the other people who are around them, you know, are reasonably, you know, weak of, and I say weak of mind, and you know what, I'm not going to apologise for that, because they are weak of mind and weak of character, that they'll just go along with it because they don't want to be ostracised themselves. They don't want to stand up and say, no, this is wrong, stop. They just go along with it. So therefore, you know, as the victim, you think that everyone's in on it, when in actual fact they might not be, but they've just got their own character flaws that they have to deal with. But being on the other end of it, it's tricky. It's really tough to sort of put that in perspective. And, you know, when you're in the midst of it, it's like, well, you know, I've done nothing wrong other than just be me. And, you know, apparently that's not good enough. And so, you know, it was all very well when I was playing well and, you know, scoring a lot of points and all that sort of stuff. So during the game, it was fine. It was just the after stuff that started to really get me. I then moved basketball clubs to sort of go up the ranks, and I ended up making the top squad. And that was all well and good because I was a new kid and blah, blah, blah. But the problem was that the established friendship groups within that club, I displaced someone's friend who didn't make the top team because I then came across and changed clubs. So that then in itself was like, made me a bit of a target. And then once you become a bit of a target, then you start sort of going into yourself, and then your performance suffers. So I wasn't then playing well because I know that I felt like none of the girls wanted me in the team, and so it just then kept sort of feeding. And then when I wasn't playing well, they were saying, "Well, why is she even in the team?" And it started going from there. So it's really, really tricky to sort of get through that. You really, really need to be a strong person. And do you know what? I'm not a sports psychologist. I didn't really see anyone. I kept telling my parents about it and kept having to muddle my way through. And it was really difficult. But again, I was thankful that my parents were pretty reasonable. They were very open to listening to me. And eventually, as it came to pass, a few of the girls moved out of the team. They then moved on, and the dynamic started to change. And that's when, other people started coming into that group, and it started to correct itself, which was great, which then gave me the confidence. But it's stuff like that. And another example is when I was back in primary school, I was trying out for a solo for the choir. I'd never done it before, but I loved to sing, and so I did it. But the choir teacher made us audition in front of the whole choir rather than just separately. And it didn't go down all that well. And that was another thing that I was really bullied about. So even to this day, I had a massive fear of public speaking. I had a massive fear of, of singing in public, singing in front of anyone that could actually hear me. And those are the fears and that you carry through into adult life. And, as I said, to this day, up until recently, I had massive fear of putting myself out there, of doing anything like that. I honestly, it was a massive mental block. It made me feel sick trying to do it. But I actually decided that I would put my hand up and try it, and my whole choir was so supportive. They were so lovely, and I did it, and I sang a solo at a pub with the choir behind me, and I feel like I've conquered it now, just because of that change of mindset, because I thought, I'm not going to let those past experiences dictate my future, because if I love it and I want to do it, why can't I? And I guess all of those experiences and those girls, like from basketball and from choir and all of that, they were living rent-free in my head. They were dictating my actions as an adult today. And this is, 30 years later, 30, 35 years later. How dare they have an impact on me like that? So, I can absolutely guarantee that they don't think 5 seconds about me, but why are they now impacting my life? So that was a real hurdle that I had to get over. But now that I've done it, it's absolutely fantastic. It's almost like life has begun again. Like it's actually unbelievable. And it's just a massive revelation. So even though I guess it's really, really tough to go through it at the time, it really does actually make you a stronger person once you come through the other end. It really does. When you have these sort of light bulb moments as an adult, as you grow up and you go through it, you sit back and think, do you know what? I am a stronger person because of it. And now that I'm looking at going through the adoption process and hopefully becoming a mum, I can impart that, on my child, regardless of, whatever they go through. It's about building that strong foundation. And look, my parents, as I said, were massive support for me. They really, really listened. They really helped. They talked me through it. And do you know what? They got me through some of these really tough times, and I am the person who I am today. So, yeah. So, look, I guess it's not an isolated thing. This is one of 1,000 different things that can impact you, just on a daily basis. They're just a couple that really impacted me as a kid, and I've only just now gotten over that. But in my next video, I'll then go on to describe how my other experiences now, I'm moving forward because of what I'd been through, and part of that is also part of the workplace bullying as well. But I hope this is just highlighted a couple of things. I hope it struck a chord or rang a bell or something for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm really trying to sort of build this channel. I hope to get a lovely community going. So yeah, look, if you can spread the word, spread it far and wide. You know, we're all in this together, and you know, I want to just create something for all of us. So have a lovely day to you all, and I'll see you in the next one.